Hello guys, and what's up? Hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday. And today I wanted to just make a little bit of a video about 5 mistakes that I see novice PC builders make. Now, we all were one of those novice PC builders at one time. Me especially. It was actually kind of recently, because I've only really known how to build a computer for the past maybe 2 years or so. But you gotta remember that these are just mistakes that everyone eventually makes, and we all make these mistakes, guys. Everyone's made these mistakes, and I'm pretty sure that almost everyone, including myself, have made almost every one of the mistakes on this video. So the way I'm going to be structuring this video is I'm going to start with the least bad mistake and then move on to the worst mistake. So the first mistake, and arguably the least worst mistake that I see people making, is part incompatibilities. So a lot of people will buy either like Intel CPUs or AMD CPUs and then buy a motherboard that doesn't work with it. Like, for example, I've seen people who were trying to build a Ryzen build and they end up buying like a Z370 motherboard, and then the motherboard comes and they're like, what the heck, I can't fit this together. Now, this error is actually pretty easy to solve. All you need to do is you need to go onto sites such as PC Part Picker and just pick out parts that it says are compatible. For example, if you're on PC Part Picker and you pick out like a Ryzen CPU, it'll only show you motherboards that will work with it. But if you're doing it all by hand, where you're just going on Amazon and saying, oh, well, this CPU, it looks cool, it's really good, this motherboard looks really cool, this RAM looks good, but you're not really looking at the part compatibilities and whether or not they'll actually work together, that's when errors can start to happen, and that's when a lot of novice PC builders will make mistakes. So the second mistake that I see a lot of novice PC builders make is power supply issues. Now, power supplies really aren't as important as a lot of people think. Yes, you don't want to buy the cheapest one off Newegg.com that's like a 75 watt power supply, but you don't really need the 1.2 kilowatt power supply either. Usually you want to find a balance between price and performance. You don't want to buy something that's not powerful enough for your PC, but you also don't want to buy something that's really cheap either. You want to find the good balance where it's a good price and it offers exactly what your PC needs. Now, the thing that I see a lot of novice PC builders doing is they choose the one where it's the cheapest one because they think that it's really not as important. Yes, it's not as important as a lot of people think, but also you don't want to completely write off your power supply either. Now, a lot of people will take OEM power supplies from like their family computer and just plug it into their gaming PC with like a 1060 and a Ryzen 5, and that's not really going to work because usually those power supplies are pretty low wattage. Like I said in the previous error, PC Part Picker will also solve this problem because it will show you exactly what wattage you need for your PC. And the third major error that I see a lot of PC builders make is way unbalanced hardware. Now, a lot of people who are inexperienced will actually underwrite or way overwrite certain parts of their computer. Like I said before with the power supply, you don't want to completely cheap out and you don't want to go way overboard with your power supply either. The same really goes with CPUs and graphics cards. I've seen a lot of people who have paired Pentium G4560s and 1080 Ti's together, and that's really not the best option. Like with the power supply, you want to find that happy medium. The best thing to do is to do your research beforehand, and doing research beforehand is what a lot of people think you don't really need to do, but it's actually very important to building the PC you want to build. If you buy an i7-8700K and then buy a GT710 just because A, it looks cool, or A, because it's cheap, you're not going to get the performance that you want. Yes, the expensive part will usually carry the weight of the inexpensive part, but at some point you've essentially wasted a ton of money on a way unbalanced hardware system. And the fourth mistake, and we're starting to get into the ones where it's really bad for your computer if you make this mistake, and this mistake is not properly cooling your PC. Now, a lot of amateur PC builders who have never really built a computer before may think that stock cooling is fine, and yes, for the stock clock speed that's fine, but when a lot of amateur PC builders use the stock Intel fan to try and way overclock their chips, their computer ends up shutting down and they can't really figure out why. And the problem lies with the kind of cooling that usually comes with a computer case or with your CPU really isn't adequate for anything above stock. Yes, you may be able to achieve a very slight overclock on lower end processors like the i3-8100 or the i5-8400K, even though you can't really overclock them. If you were to overclock them a little bit, then yes, it would work. But if you're going for higher gigahertz and you're going for something like maybe 5 gigahertz on a Ryzen 5, then you're going to need something more than stock cooling. You're going to probably want an AIO, which is definitely more expensive, but it will make your PC run a lot better. Now, the fifth and final error that I see a lot of novice PC builders make is electrostatic. Now, a lot of people don't really think about this when they're touching electronic components, but it's actually very important. Now, if you touch an exposed PCB on your PC when it's on, it will shock you and it will fry your motherboard. So if you've ever drug your feet on carpet before and you've touched something metal, you'll see a spark come off of your finger. Now, the same thing actually applies to different things. So if you're working on some place that's carpet, like what's going on right now underneath my feet, and you drag your feet and then you touch an electronic component inside your computer, it will fry it. And that's because you're sending a huge jolt of electricity through the component. And this stuff is actually really bad for your computer, and a lot of the times it'll actually fry what's in your computer. If you touch your graphics card and there's a static discharge, your graphics card is dead. If you touch your CPU, it's dead. If you touch your power supply, it's dead. And this stuff is actually really bad, and that's why they market these types of anti-static bracelets, which is where you put it on like your wrist or your ankle, and it'll protect you from anti-static. But one of the big ways that you can actually avoid this is when you're building, keep your hand on a metal part of the case, and that'll make it so that the electrons, instead of going into your PC component, will actually go into your case, and you'll essentially be fine. So thank you all so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more like this, don't forget to click here for more videos. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest tech news, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.